Hey, shh. Baby, this is the show where it's okay to be you. We're talking from Yale to jail and from the church house to the clubhouse. Nothing's excluded on Shop Talk. So if you don't have a phone, I suggest you borrow one. Call in and voice your opinion live every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Yeah, that's right, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Don't forget to Shop Talk with your girl, because right here, we keep it real. Man, oh man, I tell you, talk about live. Definitely live. I'd have left everything the way that it was from the actual DJing gig. I was like, oh my God, this is wrong. Look, the wrong thing. All right, good morning, and welcome to Shop Talk with Mel. Today's guest we have, let's make sure that we get this correct. We have the lovely Nia Sims. Let me get this right. Author Nia Sims of Why Not Me. So give it up to her, please. I got a little sound effects. You know how that goes. And then we also have the socially, politically influencer, Roogle, the movie guy. He tells you, look, he keep us up on what's happening. Look, I'm like, what is happening in the movie world? Yes. Let me get you right. Look, I'm like, let me get my little sound effects. That's so cornballish. All right, lovely people. We're getting ready to get started, and I wanted to talk about
recording in progress.
Today's topic is work with me. We're going to talk about how the employers are doing these days. Like, nobody wants to work anymore. Nobody.
Go. What you got, Roogle?
I don't agree with that. I just feel like the American worker knows that their value is much more than what they've gotten over the previous years, and recent events have led to showing the importance of what happens when you have a society that has billionaires and not enough people with livable wages.
Okay, so you believe that that's what's actually going on.
People, so now people have to pay what they owe, and the American people have been shortchanged over these last decades. We think about the growth of these trillion-dollar companies and the lack of money that has trickled down. There's no trickle down unless we squeeze the rag. We gotta squeeze all the juice out of the rag to get the trickle down, and that's what's happening now.
Okay. I can respect that. Look, I'm like, I can respect that in a big way. Well, so what do you think okay, let's go. For instance, we've seen fast food restaurants are actually, what are they, going for $15 an hour?
That was a large campaign that was started actually more than a few years ago.
Okay. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Oh yeah. So basically, a big part of that was in New York with the food workers there, fast food workers or service workers, and they campaigned and protest and everything like that to get a livable wage. Especially when we think about whenever a company can brag that they've served over $1 billion. How many trillions of dollars is that? And you won't give me $15 an hour?
You got a point. And that's what is it over $1 trillion now? Over $1 trillion, sir?
I mean, I don't know how many people they serve now. I mean, I'm sure it's billions upon billions, but
they doing it. They're definitely doing it. Okay, so you're okay with people wanting what they want and not working?
Well, people wanting what they want versus a system that has refused to pay the money, I think is one thing. So you can go out there and you can put in a hard day's work, and the thing is that what you want from that hard day's work is you want pay to reflect that work. You want pay to reflect the profits of what that organization is bringing in, and you want the ability to be able to have a work-life balance. And I think that what's happened in larger industries with people that they have or skills aligned, let's say like Google, for example.
Okay.
Google pretty much makes it so that if you wanted to stay tonight, you could. You know what I mean? They have everything there that you could possibly need, dry cleaning, all that. If you work in a situation like that, and they're a very wealthy business. Their parent company is called I believe it's Alphabet. But the issue there is that all workers need to be respected in their workplace. And we understand that some jobs may not have the flexibility to be able to provide you all the comforts that a Google provides. But you can't compensate people with a fair wage with good benefits. And we should be in a society that doesn't put people in a position to have to leverage their livelihoods off of getting governmental support. And that's what happens a lot of times in these organizations, that they pay lower wages and then they get upset because someone can't make it work because their car broke down. But it's like I have to subsidize my livelihood by being eligible for these benefits. And the main point I'm eligible is because I'm not getting a livable wage.
Okay. Now, do you think that okay, I've seen where a lot of nursing homes, hospitals, they're looking for nurses because there's a shortage there as well. So it's not just at the fast food restaurants. But do you think that those jobs who were being paid more than minimum wage should get paid more, since the minimum wage is going up to like $15? Well, I wouldn't say the minimum wage, but they're paying them, fast food workers with... And I don't want to say without education, because there's a lot of people who have degrees and working those jobs because they can't find work.
I mean, yeah, I have a master's degree, and I technically work in the service arena. Well, communications, but it's service, right?
Mm-hmm.
The issue is that we're talking about a livable wage, not a minimum, not a few dollars above minimum, but a livable wage. So to give you, and it's been a while since I actually researched this, but back in 2009 through 2011, I was doing working the labor, more or less like helping people to get in school, understanding like the pathway to be able to graduate, that kind of stuff. So at that time, a livable wage was $13.64 an hour.
Okay.
Our minimum wage in the state of Ohio today, I think, is $8.55, and that was 11 years ago.
Okay, so a livable was 13, and today's
64.
minimum wage is like $8.
Yeah, $8.55.
Okay.
For the
Wow.
state of Ohio.
Wow. So you said it was a livable wage at 13, but those who have their careers already, and no shade to the people, that make a career, because they're making big bucks in the fast food restaurants too. But if you have people who are making minimum wage, they have a high school diploma, and I'm just doing this scenario, so don't shut me down, people. A high school diploma versus those who have the degrees, who are working in their field of service, and they're starting off at like $15 or $16 an hour, and then you could go get a job at a fast food restaurant for $15 or $19 an hour. Do you think that they need to up those pays of the professionals?
Yeah. Again, my question goes to livable wage. You know what I mean? I mean, my answer goes to livable wage. The thing though, let's talk about it. I mean, like when we really talk about that, and when we talk about the workplace, and we talk about the valley, a lot of jobs that have paid people very well have not needed a post-secondary education, perhaps, in the traditional sense. You might get on-the-job training, that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Okay. Nia, you want to weigh in on this one? What's your thoughts on it?
I am the opposite. I left a job before mental health and all that became popular. I am a fan of, if you're not being treated right, go ahead and leave. And don't feel bad about that. Unapologetically, like leave. I left a job that paid good because I didn't like how management was acting. And I wasn't at the middle, I was in management. So some people, it's not about the money. Now, as far as these people who are staying home, yeah, I would stay at home too if I was getting an extra $600 a month, and then now I'm getting ready to get a child tax increase. So I'm getting more money every month. I would stay at home too. If I was not working, or if I was working with the under livable wages, I guess. So yeah, that's why everybody's paying $15 an hour at this restaurant, and that's why people are hiring, because they don't have anybody. But for me, I'm not working because the culture needs to change in the environment. Managers, or not even managers, supervisors, owners, CEOs, they need to change the way. Like Google, yeah, I would love to work for them, because Google, Facebook, all of those people know how to treat their employees and they respect them. So yeah, I'm on the other end of that, but I get all of it.
Okay. Now, so it's a matter of respect. Roogle, you were talking about that at the very beginning.
Yes.
I believe, just like they say, it's a buyer's market. I believe it's an employee's market. And I too believe that you do have to treat people right. And when you work for someone, this is just me, that's their dream. So you're helping them with their dream, what they wanted to do. And yes, you have to treat people right, because who's going to get out there? Otherwise, I've seen a lot of people mom and pops, and they started off, working their business. And then you get it franchised, and then all of a sudden, okay, now you have the worker bees, air quotes I'm using for the listening audience. And now they have to get back out there, and they're upset. And I've seen someone, this was in Maryland. And the lady that was interviewed, she had a restaurant. She was livid and upset that she had to actually come into her business and work. She's like, nobody wants to work, and I have to come in here and work. I was appalled because I felt like this is your dream, ma'am. You decided to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It was nuts to me. Speak to that, Roogle.
I mean, it's the thing is that, okay, you can have somebody create something, right? And you can have people that have a shared vision and seeing that thing grow. But but at the heart of it, where she might have been gaining people to work, they may not have been going there for a career. Like my career or my desire is not to be a server my entire life. This may be a pit stop in the road to wherever I'm going to. I just think what's happened in some of these cases is that people have pretty much come to a level of clarity on what they want. And sometimes I had a friend whose grandfather said this one day, and it was really profound. He was like, sometimes you have to, it could be actually bad for you to work. And when he was saying that, he wasn't saying it like don't work or whatever like that. But what is the ambition that you have? What are you trying to go after? So if you're trying to go after that certain thing or that certain dream, like it could be people who say, you know what, I think I can manage. Let me go back to school full time and become that professional that I wanted to be. Or let me invest in my own business and do those sort of things and robustly do that without necessarily feeling like I have to leverage my free time and my time for creation with someone else's schedule, someone else's overtime, someone else, whatever that idea is. I think people have got an opportunity to go really deep into who they want to be and what they want to create.
Okay. You want to speak to that, Nia?
No, I mean, I kind of agree. You saying that's how people think after they've been on a job for a while? Is that what I was saying? Like, oh, no, yeah, I agree.
And you know what, Roogle, I want to add to that. You are right. That might be a stepping stone. And people need to understand that because you have, all over there talking about unemployment rates has gone down and they're trying to blame it on President Biden as far as like the unemployment rate going up. And a lot of people are like, because of all of the air quotes again, amenities that they're getting, after COVID, 2020 is we're still in COVID, but 2020 people aren't trying to come back to work. I believe personally, my opinion is they shut the world down and people were able to reevaluate themselves and see their worth. And yes, indeed, 110%. I agree especially with you, what you were saying, Nia, when you were saying the way you were treated. A lot of people put up with stuff because they had bills to pay. And it was like, okay, I need to provide for my family, so I have to put up with this. And you too, Roogle, I agree with you when you say, guess what? I don't have to put up with that anymore. Pay me what I'm worth. Since everybody, to me, 2020 had everybody even. It put everybody at the start on the same playing field. It was like, all of us are out. And it was, you were able to reevaluate and say, okay, is this what I want to do? Is this a stepping stone? Because sometimes the money, like, you get a factory job, you get in there, you get used to the finance, and you're like, okay, well, I'm living this way, but I'm not doing what I want to do or what my purpose is or what I enjoy doing. And then it's just, monotonous. It's just over and over. This is what I'm doing every day, going to work, coming back to provide, but I'm not happy. I think people were able to come back, reevaluate. And like I said, everybody was on the same playing field. Nobody was greater than the other. It was like, whoa. So I think people do feel as though that they need to be respected I work a whole bunch of different jobs, But I like the fact that even before COVID, if I didn't like the way it was going, I was like, this is not working for me. I'm out. I was easy. I was like, no, this is not working. But now I see, even like in housekeeping, and you want to give them a livable wage, but people aren't trying to be disrespected. And they're just like, I'm out of here. And there are some, even though they stopped the unemployment a few months back. So, and people still aren't coming. They're like, no, I'm done. So I think that's probably it. What you were saying, Roogle. People want to be respected. And like the reason that you left your job, like, no, respect. And it's an employee's market. And it's like, okay, I'm here and we have options. So I agree with both of you. Now let's talk about this eviction. The moratorium, they have a new eviction moratorium. Back in January, it was supposed to be January of 2021, where to kind of let you guys know that, if you don't know anything about the eviction moratorium, that's where nobody could be evicted due to COVID, and the situation that we were in. And then it was supposed to expire in January of 2021. Yeah, it was the beginning of the year. And then once President Biden got in there, he pushed it back where it was March, then May, then, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say June 24th, and then July 31st. Well, now they're pushing it back even further to October. So let's talk about the homeowners before we get to talking about the people who are living in the properties and were still getting eviction notices, like apartments and stuff. They were still getting eviction notices. It has been pushed back, lovely people. I'm here to let you guys know. And I know Roogle, the smart guy, he gonna let me know if it's accurate or not, from my research versus his, because we didn't get the opportunity to elaborate with one another. But now, so what about since we all were on the same playing field, what about the homeowners who rent and that's their means of income?
Landlords that rent property.
Yes.
Okay.
You. I'm talking about you.
You ain't talking about me. But I think that could potentially be a problem. Because if that is your livelihood, or you got to keep up that property, you do need that money coming in. What I did see though that was happening was that there were organizations that would help people with that rent money. So it's a tough thing. I mean, it's people need a place to live, and during a pandemic, it only make it worse if you flood shelters, with a communicable disease, and it's a tough one to balance. But I think that maybe the government should take the approach that it took with the bailouts, the Obama administration, where they gave, instead of giving the money to the people and having them pay what they owe to the banks, they gave the money to the banks. So in this case, if you have a person who has that property and they have a tenant who can't afford to make those payments, can the government subsidize that landlord the absence of whatever that would be from the person, pending that they actually are not paying rent because of the effects of the pandemic.
Okay. Well, go ahead, Nia. You ain't.
Yeah, I wanted to go first because.
Go ahead.
No, because that's the logic. That's the good logic that he brought up. But I want to speak, first of all, with all them own businesses that got that PUA money and all that, I don't feel sorry for none of them. I'm going to be honest with
Okay.
you. Number one, I have not gotten my income tax nor my stimulus, the last two stimulus, or my income tax for the last 2 years. And when I asked about it, they said, well, we're behind. So how everybody else getting money, but I can't, and I've been working since 18 years old. Now all of a sudden everything is pushed back. So as far as the homeowners and all these people, y'all already put in money for y'all houses because y'all had businesses that y'all had to bail out. So no, I don't feel sorry for anybody at all. That's just plain and simple. Because I'm a hardworking person until I left, but I mean, I've been working all my life. But now, all of a sudden, now I can't get what I'm supposed to have, but I'm supposed to, everybody else is getting bailed out. Nah, that ain't cool. And as long as they keep doing that, then nobody's going back to work.
Okay. Did you want to piggyback on that, Roogle?
I thought we were talking about people paying rent.
Yeah, we were. I get where she's going because she's looking like, even with the businesses. So I guess that, what is it, a PPP loan or something like that? They would have been eligible for that.
Yeah. I think the distinction though is not every landlord is a multi-unit, has multi-units or whatever. It could be someone who has
one house.
One house that they inherited but decide to rent it out, and now that's subsidizing their income or even paying the taxes on that property. I think that the dynamics of who owns property and how they're able to get maybe for example, maybe the people who have dormitories or what have you are able to lean into the government more than a person that's just, hey, I just happen to have a house or two that I rent out. So I think the spectrum there is so wide that that there's people that automatically you don't even look at that as that landlord as a sole proprietor, but as a corporation.
Okay. I will say that a lot of businesses, when they found out about the PPP or the PUA, a lot of them, I'm raising my hand, didn't find out until the end. It's like, well, wait a second. And guess what? They ran out of money for legitimate businesses. And you had the other people who made up a business or just started a business or whatever. They out here, living it up. They got their cars and I'm going to just keep it 100 as I do. I don't understand why you would get a car with a car payment instead of just buying a car. But you got to keep that up. However, you do have those who aren't legit. And, and it's like, okay, they're not legit, but the person that is legit wasn't able to receive because they ran out of money, i.e. you couldn't get your taxes. Now for, like Roogle was talking about, when we were talking about the eviction moratorium, I'm split. I'm split because you have people who, you got your stimulus and it was to play catch up. Now, what was it? 1,200? Was it 1,200 the first time?
The initial Trump.
Yeah. So, okay. So you got $1,200. However, here's the thing: your utilities, they didn't turn off any utilities or anything like that, too. And you have your rent. You have some people who think that, well, I'm already behind. I might as well go ahead and get food. I might as well pay the utilities that didn't have it in place because it was the, if I'm not mistaken, the electric company wasn't turning anything off. But if you live in certain areas, the water department, they weren't playing. They only did a few months and no, y'all need to figure that out. You know what I mean? So you got 1,200 and you're behind. What do? You got your toiletries that you need to purchase. So, you know what I mean? You kind of split it up and say, okay, you prioritize what's more important. But I do feel for the homeowners who, like Roogle was saying, you might have one unit, one single dwelling house, and that you inherited and you live somewhere else, and that's another means of income for you. Well, now it's cut off. Meanwhile, though, that property taxes still due, up what's broken into place. I still have to make sure that it's in livable conditions, but I'm not getting anything. So I feel for them. Do you remember that one couple that is using the eviction moratorium? I want to say California, because it was a warm state. I saw the trees, where they lived there. The whole family came in. It was a beautiful home and they weren't paying anything. And they're like, the owners were like, we can't even evict them. And I guess it was, I want to say almost $2,400 a month. So that income was missing too. So they didn't have a job and that extra income was missing too. So that's why I was asking, how do you feel about it being postponed even more and what to do? Because right now you'll see the commercials that are coming out as far as like pets. Did you see where they're talking about, people getting evicted and what are they going to do with the pets? Do you...
Does that mean they don't have to pay it at all or they got to pay it at some point?
They have to pay it at some point. So it's just racking up. The bill is just racking up. Go. What did I like? Oh, well, go ahead, Roogle.
The pet dynamic is, man, that's really a tough one. I mean, the whole thing is when you displace a family unit, and we're going to include people's pets as part of that family unit. I mean, you have to have a whole level of resources to address what that family's needs are, especially if the goal is to keep the family whole. Mm-hmm. I would hate. No, I'm not a pet owner. But I've seen the attachment that people have with their pets, and I would hate for a person to have to make a decision and say, bro, this part of my family, this part of my being, has to go to a shelter or has to be away or I have to give it up because of that, it's such a. I mean, it's such an issue that kind of pulls at the heartstrings just because it impacts people so much differently. Like I wouldn't know what that would be like because I've never had a pet. But I would imagine that what I would imagine would be hard. But I would hope that the approach would be, how do we keep these families intact? And that's not only just things like your pets and things like that, but things that also bring you sentimental value. If you're in a situation where now you have to been with somebody else and, you cut loose your things, you know what I mean? And that sort of thing. That can lead to a level of being traumatized from this experience. And I think that's one thing that people look at about the effects of this, because I think all of this kind of boils back to the pandemic. The effects of this pandemic, I mean, some of us have been lucky enough not to get it. Some of us have been lucky enough to survive it. But some of us have ultimately, have not been so lucky. But the issue is that there's so much trauma tied to this whole piece. If it's like knowing someone, or if it's like the restrictions that you feel that may come upon your life, or even just the idea that we're not out the woods yet.
Right.
If anything, it's getting worse. But I don't think that the government will ever take the steps like it did previously to to shut down things. I think that it's become more polarized. It's become more of a partisan issue than a crisis situation, and that we're currently in that crisis.
Okay. Now, what would be your suggestion to get people back out there? But let me say this. There's a lot of entrepreneurs that came out of that pandemic. Crafty Creations. Thank you, darling. I truly appreciate you. Shonda Lewis, she's on Facebook. She got her niche. But go ahead, Nia. First, what would you think? Let's try to fix this thing. I'm always about solutions.
First, you just have to cut everything off cold turkey. You can't wean everybody. You have to give a date, stick to that date. If the cutoff date is in September, cut that off.
Oh, you're talking about for the eviction?
For all of it. Eviction, any any of that. Because none of that's going to go away. I'm going to continue staying on work I'm not giving any of that money, but I would sit back and do nothing and continue. So, yeah. Have a date, stick with it. Stop caring about to the left or to the right, who's right or who's wrong. Yeah, no, get people back to work. Pay them what they're worth, like you said. I mean, that's how you're going to have to start somewhere. Or we're going to be doing this we're going to be doing this.
Right.
Year.
Okay, political strategist. You heard her say the left or the right. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts, Roogle?
Well, the thing is that poverty has been exposed in a whole different light now. Some of the things that are being put into place when we talk about the child tax credit and those sort of things aren't. The pandemic revealed. Actually, it didn't reveal a lot. I mean, everyone knew, right? But it really revealed like this is a major problem. And when we look at those subsidies that are put in place for like the child tax credit and things like that, those are because we understand now, what we did understand, but that action is happening to fix that wage gap. There are plenty of first world, countries that have universal health care.
Okay.
That have stipends that they give to citizens, regardless of where they fall in income. We tend to only help people when it's at an extreme. So, we have Social Security, but that's used at a point of extremes. Like I'm out of the workforce. Or we have it where you have some type of disability, so now you apply. Like it's always at the extreme. But there's so many people in the middle here that are caught up that need that leg up as well. And if we have more universal systems put in place in this country, we might be better off for it. And the thing is, like when I say that, people may say, "Well, you're talking about socialism." Well, no, not exactly. But what I'm saying is that there is a pure distinction from the wealthy middle class, even if we have a middle class anymore. I mean, it's shrinking every day. But there is an issue with if you just look at it past the pandemic point, just the other day, I think it was August 3rd was the day that it would take a black woman to earn the amount of money that a white man earned starting in January 1 of 2000, let's say for 2020, right?
Okay.
You have a white man who made so much money. It would take a woman that whole year, a black woman, that whole year in 8 months and 3 days to get to that point of making the money he made in 1 year. And so like we have disparities in this country that have to be solved. And so like the pandemic that did a lot to bring that out, but some of the things that are coming out to help, people are solely tying just to pandemic relief, but they are things that should have been in there anyway to equalize or to bring equity to the issues that we face in America.
Okay, I want to get this information out there. The CDC issued yet another extension through not October 31st, October the 3rd, 2021. So y'all need to get y'all stuff together, move in with whoever you got to move in with. But I'm looking at all of the funding and the funds that you have to come up with before the eviction proceedings, because I know that it costs even for that. So the homeowners and property owners, they're really feeling it. They're getting the brunt. They're definitely getting the brunt of it. All right. You said the disparities that are there as far as like the child tax credit that they're getting, the additional $300. To my understanding, when I read it, it was optional because that has to be, and this is just my understanding, it has to be paid back with your income tax. So either you can get that throughout, or you could just say you can pass. There was an option there. And if you didn't pass, they automatically just gave it to you and you could tell them no. Kind of like what President Trump was doing back in, what was that, 2019? No, was it 2020?
Are you talking about the
where you would have to get taxes taken out of your check?
Healthcare?
No.
Okay. That was not healthcare. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. And then you wanted people to pay it back at the end of the year.
Yeah, you pay it back at the end.
Something like that. Yeah.
I opted out of that. I didn't want that.
Well, a lot of employers opted out of it for people because
Right.
it was bad. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, that won't work in the long run. But there was a situation where and I believe this happened, where it was this thing where it was like, I think they were calling it like the nanny, whatever it was like it was a child care issue. And they were trying to, and the only issue was it only really impacted the wealthy, right? So they got some sort of tax break for what they would call their daycare, right? The nanny, that kind of stuff like that. And now we're in a situation where President Biden is actually trying to get within this infrastructure bill things tied to healthcare. And people are like, well, we don't believe that's infrastructure, right? And we're like, well, how can it not be if it's stabilizing the family going forward? You know what I mean? I mean, we got to look at this bigger than just fixing potholes. And I think that's what his approach was. But I think some people just want to narrow that down just to, things like construction and that sort of thing.
Okay. All right. Now, again, my guest is author Why Not Me, Nia Sims, joining us today on Shop Talk with Mel, and also the lovely political and social, he know it all, intellectual, Roogle, the movie guy. He tells us what's hot and what's not in the movies. So I can't wait. I can't wait to get to that part of it. And then, of course, your girl Mel right here on your Spreaker.com. Actually, we're on all podcasts. So your favorite podcast outlet is under Let's Shop Talk. Let's get busy and ready for the shop topics. Cuomo. Governor Cuomo. Do you think, people, other governors, his counterparts are thinking that he needs to step down. Do you, Nia, believe that Governor Cuomo, the governor of New York, needs to step down for the sexual harassment? I'm using air quotes, alleged. Let me say alleged, because I don't need y'all calling me up. Do you think he needs to step down? It was 11 women.
No.
Okay.
I should lose my job because of somebody hearsay. I mean, didn't we just put somebody in jail? Never mind, we ain't gonna go that far.
Okay. Your answer is no? Okay. Roogle, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, if the case becomes criminal and it seems like that's where this is going, if he is indeed found guilty, he should do the right thing. Sometimes the accusations can be, and the thing is that there's been so many stories that come out about this whole thing, and the thing is, and the issue is, Ben, would you please stop trying to date women you work with? Like, just stop it. Like, don't do it. Like you can go anywhere else. You can go. Don't hit on them. Don't just say hello. How you doing? We got coffee and donuts in the break room.
That might be too much.
Like, stop. Like, the problem is that people keep like, and don't get me wrong. You may think like, we have this, we have this connection because we do the same thing and all that sort of thing. But just stop. Like, this whole problem is because people have pushed the boundaries of what is professionalism in the wrong direction. You don't have to. Just stop. Like, the whole problem with this is that every person that's been in this situation is tied to him, right? And from the work perspective, right? And it's just like, when you're making that decision to go try to talk to that person, you have broken the first rules of professionalism, because now you're taking it out of the context of that. And the thing is that when he's giving his apologies, his comments, he's always apologized and said things like, well, I just hope that, I'm sorry that you seen it this way, or if you had, your experience and that sort of thing. But at the crux of this, it's like, stop being a bad actor.
Well, you know what? I know you want to weigh in. Let me say this real quick. Hold on. Just hold on. Now, if I'm you said stop dating people at the workplace. When you spend time, how many marriages have come out of co-workers? And also, I know me, I'm looking, at least I know he got a job. But go ahead, Nia.
I was not doing it. But first of all, we are grown. I am not. I mean, yes, professionalism and personal should be separate. But if you find somebody that you work with, that you're compatible with, there's nothing wrong with it. What I don't like, and I'm going to tell you right now, and I've been saying this since day one, until women are held accountable when they lie about the men, nothing is going to change. And I'm not saying anybody's lying. What I'm saying is there's a lot of people, he's big down. And you know, when Cuomo, when everybody was loving him and everybody, the CDC, everybody loved him during 2020, I said something about to happen. Because when a man gets up high, somebody that he left 25 years ago is going to be mad that he's making money now and that people are talking about they're going to come out of the woodwork. It has happened. It's been happening. I don't know about what this Me Too is going. I'm not a fan of Me Too. I understand there's some women out there. And the sad thing is it's taken away from the people who are actually raped. But at the same time, men need to have their own rights too. Until men start saying, nope, and I want Bill Cosby to do it. He out of jail now. I want him to go after every female that lied on him, if that's so the case, or any man. So, no, I'm not a fan. He needs to stay in there and do what he needs to do until, like you said, right now you said alleged male, until he's found guilty. And then we also know what happens when you get found guilty and then all of a sudden you out of jail. So that's even a conversation as well. But no, I'm not a fan.
Well, public opinion, it shows that now public opinion is more important. And I'm glad Roogle said, until he's found guilty, because it's interesting how with public opinion, everybody's guilty and then you have to prove your innocence. Now with 11 females coming forward, I'm like, I know 11 people that probably don't like me and they could come and say anything. And then you want me to step down. The investigation is yet to be completed. And he actually said that he didn't touch. He said, I didn't physically touch anybody. Now, they show clips of him when he kissed people. He was kissing men, everybody. And I guess it's probably their culture because he was, he grabbed their face and boom, boom. And the girl was like, he kissed. You remember we talked about that, Roogle, a while ago when the girl said he grabbed her face and kissed her?
Yeah, I think I read the New York Times. Was that New York Times that reported that?
I think
the article.
I think it was.
I can't remember which one it was.
And they showed a bunch of clips of him with older people, men, women. He does that. And like I said, it might be cultural. And now with this whole cancel culture type thing they got going on, it's like, okay, which way do we go? And which way do we weigh? Or do we stand firm in our decision and the man is innocent until he's proven guilty?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Roogle. Your wheels, I see your wheels turning.
Because the first thing I want to say here is that, like, there have been lots of things done badly to people that have never been touched by the person who did it. Right?
Yeah, not justifying it because they said sexual assault. His would be more sexual harassment. But go ahead.
Yeah. So I think we because I think that's where he's at is harassment.
You think he's at? I'm guilty for sexual harassment, but not sexual assault.
Well, I'm just saying. I think that's the issue here is the harassment, not the actual assault. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to make sure we're clear on that. But the issue is that it also, it leads to an uncomfortable place. Like if you're getting an advance that you do not want, how I do not want your advance.
And I think that people should say that, kind of like what Neil was talking about. Just say it, like get out of here. However, y'all know me, you have somebody. The governor tried to talk to you. So do you go and say, oh, the governor tried to talk to me, and that's clout? Because I'm going to tell you, your girl, I'll be sipping like, girl, let me tell you what happened. And I'm not trying to do the Me Too moment. Look, Uncle DeWine waved at me, girl. Mm-hmm. Just like that one incident when you just said hello to the young lady in the store. How you been? And she like, he tried to talk to me. See, chicks is off the chain. I'm with you, Nia, on that. Some of these, and I'm saying broads, some of them like happy people trying to talk to them. But you know, the government trying to holler at me. Look, I'm like, okay then. My chest is out. Okay, so I'm out. I'm like, yeah, I heard that. Okay, so I see the top-notch people paying me some attention. Let me go buy me a new pair of shoes. Okay, so you really see me. Look, give me a little taller. Not trying to, you know, trying to cause their demise. And I think that women need to say, if you think it's sexual harassment, you can run to HR. Instead of like holding and waiting for an attorney to contact you and be like, oh yeah, your friend told me, blah, blah, blah. Because that's what I really feel. I feel like they like tried to find somebody and they picked up the phone and called, oh yeah, he did this. Okay, we'll get him.
Or wait until they get climbing up the ladder and something happens and then tell that something happened 10 years ago or whatever. So yeah, I think it's also they wait until they climb that ladder as well.
The one incident, it was a few months back, I believe. Roogle, you remember this when the guy came in the bathroom after me? That one bathroom? And he said...
Explain it a little bit better than what you said. You didn't say he came in the bathroom after you.
Okay.
He didn't go in after her. Say it better.
Okay, it's a bathroom that, you know, is unisex. So it's one stall. So I go in the bathroom and then I left out. And he went into the restroom and he said, I knew you were going to smell like flowers. Now, I didn't know how to take that. Do I think that's sexual harassment? I didn't feel any type of way. I just like, that's weird. You know, and I kept going. I was like, huh? Okay. Some people felt that, oh no, he shouldn't be saying that. But everybody's interpretation and the way that they receive things is very different. Did I run to HR? Absolutely not. I came on Shop Talk and talked about it. I was like, and to me, that's weird. So now I'm going to watch and make sure you ain't following me, you know, that type thing. But to go and run and talk about something, oh yeah, he said, I knew you was going to smell like flowers. Is that a compliment or not? A compliment or sexual harassment? I just looked at it and was like, oh, well, thank you. Look, thank you. You looked at me and thought I smelled good. I appreciate it. You know, I didn't take it any kind of way. But I guess it depends on the person. And ladies, let me say this. If you know you don't smell like flowers, take some spray. Take some spray in the bathroom or something. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes when the nurse is coming out right now. Sometimes when you have an STD, if you smell it, we smell it. Yeah, and that, you know that's that trichomonas. And you know, I'm about to get to the trichomoniasis, lovely people. And you'll smell it first, and then all of a sudden you don't smell it anymore. We can smell it. Just that's just a FYI. Just putting it out there, not being rude or anything. Just want to let you know. If you smell yourself, and then all of a sudden you don't smell yourself anymore, that's when we can smell it. Because you have gotten used to it, honestly. And that's with that trichomonas. A lot of people don't know. And I could smell it a mile away. That's a different, it's like garbage. It's like, yeah, it smells like bad garbage, you know. It's a different smell. It's not like the chlamydia where you got that fishy smell.
Like good garbage.
Yeah, not good garbage. Good garbage is just trash. But when... Like, it smells like bad garbage, like real bad, like, oh, y'all need to take that out. Like, that kind. Like, just put it to the street right now. Don't put it at the back of the house. Don't let it sit there because it's going to be flies and stuff all over the place. That kind.
That is my smell for the day.
Right, there you go. This is your male's medical moment right there. All right, let's move on to the next shop topic. The Baby. The Baby is being canceled at all festivals. He's a rapper. And... that particular incident, you know how they be at the concerts. What's that? If you got your real hair, put your lighters up. If you got, you know what I mean? If you got a job and your nails ain't fake, put your hands up. You know, we used to say put your hands up. I'm dating myself right now. Now they like put your phone lights up. Okay? Or we used to have the lighters, because remember that was the thing back then, but now you ain't allowed to do that. But it was like, put your lights on. So he was doing a concert, and they omitted this information when he said, if you know what I was talking about, if your vaginal area, but he didn't use that word, smell like water, put your lights up. And then he said, what did he say? He said something about, if you're not gay, if you don't have HIV, put your lights up, or AIDS, put your lights up. He was saying that type stuff. Well, now they done canceled him. And he issued an apology, but his apology wasn't, public opinion felt that it wasn't apologetic enough, or he wasn't sincere, because here public opinion is telling him what's sincere and what's not. So he apologized. They felt as though that he wasn't apologetic enough, or he wasn't sincere. Now, when I listened to it, I'm not going to play it right here. You guys got to look that information up, because it's a lot of vulgarity. You know, he was at his concert. He said he does that at all the concerts. Now, if you listen to it, he was just saying, put your lights up. I didn't see any hate in that. Otherwise, it could have been a lot of women out there whose vagina don't smell like water. But you supposed to not put your light up, because even if mine didn't smell like water, I'm still put my light up. You don't need to know. You know what I mean? I put my phone light, put my flashlight up. So when he was doing it, they just got that little snippet. And they're canceling like all the different festivals. It was, I want to say 6 different festivals went on and just canceled him because of the cancel culture. Now back to him and how he felt, just like Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart had his thoughts, as far as like the LGBTQ community. It's so interesting to me that, let me put this out here. I don't care who you sleep with. I ain't that interested. Heterosexual, whatever. I'm not interested, honestly. But Kevin, he wasn't able to express himself. So it's almost like heterosexuals can express themselves, but the LGBTQ community can express theirs. And I see you, Roogle, and I want you to come in on that, because they're being condemned for their beliefs versus, if they don't believe the same thing, why can't we agree to disagree? You know what I mean? Go ahead, Roogle.
Kevin Hart's situation, he put on Instagram, not Instagram, was it?
Twitter. It was Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. Like, how many years ago was that? I don't know, 8?
Yeah, it was a while ago. But they still, remember he couldn't even host the Oscars or something beyond that?
Yeah. I mean, but this is why though. I think that. So he didn't he say something like, if he found out his. What did he say? He found out his son was gay.
Yeah, abuse and all that other stuff. Like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The problem is that he can't speak his. You have the right to free speech. You also have the right to be.
I can't tell the way things is going.
No. You can say it.
But there's repercussions.
But the thing is that you also have the right to be condemned by that free speech. And then there's hate speech and that sort of thing. And I don't want to say that Kevin Hart's statement was hate speech, right? I'm not going to go that far.
Okay.
But from the eye of someone who can never live their true selves and had to hide who they were, could never express who they were because of violence that would come to them, or even people that were expressing who they were and got beat up because they were just walking down the street and somebody said, I believe that's one of them right there. Let's get them. You know what I mean? I think the feeling that with those statements were that it's violence happening against people because of things that group feels like cannot change.
And that's not right.
They are, but I'm being attacked for that. And his and sometimes you get, we call it, fandom. When you're a fanatic, you get people that are so aligned to that person that they're like, yeah, I would hit my kid in the head with a dollhouse too. You know what I mean? They can't separate the humor from the situation, if there's even humor there.
The metaphor or so. Yeah.
Most would say not in this situation. But I think the thing is that when you look at the whole picture of what people have endured because of differences, because of things that that are different from other people, that they feel that are things that cannot be changed from their perspective. You know, I mean, because some people, there's a documentary that I meant to watch on Netflix called Pray Away.
Okay.
We'll talk about that in a segment. I didn't watch it though yet, but it talks about.
We'll talk about it in your segment. Keep going.
We'll talk about it in a second. But the point I'm saying, I think, is that sometimes that even though he may have not been rallying the troops to go out there and do terrible things, the idea that violence has happened to people because they can't be themselves, it is a reality.
So is Black Lives Matter. We still have problems with that, but I'm gonna be quiet.
Yeah. I mean, it's all the same. You know, I mean, it's all.
I understand what you mean.
Based off of different things, you know, different stimuli, if you will.
Okay, go ahead, Nia.
Mine is simple. I'm like you. Who you sleep with, that's your business. The baby, it was his concert, his show, his words, leave him alone. And as far as people apologizing after something comes to light, you wasn't sorry when you said it. That doesn't make you a bad person. You were just being honest. I'm not apologizing just because my mom used to always, when you were younger and you kid, and they say you're sorry. But I'm not. That would be me. This ain't just happened because I'm 47. I used to be that person and be like, but I'm not. I didn't do anything wrong. So I'm just, the free speech type thing, it doesn't even bother me because I don't like the N-word, but we still do that. If somebody's calling a guy a B or a girl a B, that doesn't offend me because it doesn't apply to me. I'm not offended by none of that stuff. You know, I always go back to what Snoop said back in the 90s. He's like, I have a mother and I have I don't even know if he has a daughter now, but that was back in the 90s. I have a mother and I have a sister. When I'm calling people girls and B's, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the ones who know that's what they are. So none of that doesn't bother me. I'm a fan of freedom of speech. The Ku Klux Klan are allowed to speak what they want to speak and do what they want to do. They fine. I'm fine. I just know that I ain't gonna know where they at. So,
yeah, you see a flag. If I see a Confederate flag, I'm not coming knocking on your door.
Right. I know what it is.
Yeah, you
will. For what though? What reason would you have to go over there? Now, if we're in a conversation,
that's what it would be.
That's a different conversation, but you wouldn't go on nobody's porch, because if you ain't going on nobody's porch in the hood, what reason would you have to be? So I just feel like, just stop apologizing, say what you want to say. The whole world went soft. So I'm just different.
Right, and you know what? It makes me want to go to comedy shows more, and I just hope that there's not a muzzle on the comedians, because they can say what they want to say, and it's funny, and it's like, oh my gosh, I feel like you gotta have okay, everybody gonna be mad at me because of the way that I feel, but you're okay, you can feel the way that you want to feel? Like, to me, it's just reverse bullying. Go ahead, Roogle.
I'm going to tell you about
I want to go back to what you said about the comics. The comedians, some of them are not allowed to say what they want to say, because if you remember back in the day, Kramer used the N-word in his stand-up, and he's been canceled ever since. So it just depends on who you are. So that's why I said freedom of speech needs to be freedom of speech, period. Let people say and do and whatever, as long as it's not a hate crime, hate speech. You know.
Go ahead, Roogle. But Kramer was.
I think his name is it Richard Marks? I think is his name. So his situation though, that wasn't part of his stand-up. He just kind of railed in on the guy because the guy was, I think, may have been.
He was heckling him.
Yeah.
My point is, how come it's okay for us and not them? That was my point. But
I mean, I'm one of those people that I don't think it's okay for anybody. But the thing I wanted to say was, okay, we talk about going to shows and that kind of thing happening. Like, so for example, I remember I went to go see Kid and Play at Stanbaugh Auditorium.
I was there.
That day, right? And so, I was like, okay, Kid and Play, they doing their thing and everything like that. And then it was this scene, this part where Play just, dropped his pants and started, I was like, I didn't come here I didn't think I was going to get this show. I didn't want that show.
Guess where I was at, Roogle?
And he doing all this stuff to girls, and I'm like,
where was I at, Roogle?
Where was you at?
I
don't know.
I was up in front of the stage, like, yeah!
So you know what I'm saying, though. So you remember this happening. And I remember being like, what the hell? Like in my kid mind, like, what are they doing? This isn't the kid and play. This isn't the ticket I bought. You know, I didn't think I was allowed to come here and see these dudes swing and jump. You know what I mean? Like, this was like.
I saw the house party kid and play up there.
Yeah, and I think it was a lot of parents who probably was there with their kids. Like, what in the hell just happened? You know, like so now baby might be a whole different thing. Like you might expect to get that, right? You know what I mean? Like whatever you're gonna get at that, I don't know. But that was not my envision of that because I went to go see LL, I went to go see Kumo D, Fat Boy, Salt Pepper, all them people, right? And I've never seen that until I went to a kid player, and I'm like, the most wholesome of the wholesomeness is doing this. Like, what, you know, when you see, I was just like, you know, I can imagine at the time about it. Like, I remember I went to go see another movie thing. I went to go see South Park, the bigger and whatever it was called, right? That first movie. And it was a guy who brought, like, the girl had to be no older than, like, 6 years old into that movie. And it was like, he ended up eventually leaving, but it was like, who was you thinking? What was you thinking, you know? I mean, like, you clearly know with the brand, right? And so in that kid and play situation, I thought I clearly knew the brand. And then, you know, obviously, you know, I didn't know the concert brand.
Now
the
cassette brand.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you saw the house party brand. That's what they showed. They showed the house party brand. Speaking of that, now I went to an R. Kelly concert. Now you would think that would happen at an R. Kelly concert. It didn't.
You sound disappointed.
No, it didn't. I'm not disappointed, but you would think, you know, with 12 Play, Honey Love, all that, you're like, okay, that wasn't there. But I want to say that the brands, yeah, you would expect things, and it wasn't. It was a nice show. I got to give it to it. It was R. Kelly and Salt and Pepper. That was a good show. But now on to R. Kelly. His lawyers submitted another a list of questions for potential jurors because they're taking it to trial. And there was a young man that came out that said that he was allegedly, I'm saying alleged, underage, that came out and said he was with R. Kelly as well. So his attorneys came out and they had a list of questions. Now the one that I actually wrote down because I wanted to make sure I got it right. The attorneys, let me see, they want to eliminate anybody that might have any type of prejudice against, like, the LGBTQ community or, you know, heterosexuals, all of them together. And the question was, do you have views about lesbian, heterosexual, gay, bisexual people that will affect your ability to become a fair and impartial juror? That's what they want to put up there because that young man, they're adding it to the case because he's ready to, you know, getting ready to go to trial. And they didn't want to use that. He didn't want that to come out. And the reason I'm bringing that up is if that's what he's into, that's what he's into. And he doesn't want that to come out. And we talked about Nas X last week. And I was saying that his video was more so, to me, I found it where he shot that video in a prison. And then he like broke out. He had a shank and broke out of prison. I thought it was a metaphor. That's what I used it as. I was like, oh, okay, I see the video as a metaphor saying, okay, I'm free. Now, you know, I was held, I was imprisoned by not letting people know how I really was, probably in fear of his life. You know, you just never know. And I'm wondering if that is the same thing that R. Kelly was thinking about. You know, why he didn't want that young man to come forward. Now, we know public opinion has R. Kelly guilty. Public opinion. And we saw it. Look, we saw it live. You know what I mean? Look, everybody just saw the tape. I don't know how they picked the jurors. Like, I saw the tape. But he too. Public opinion and people stopped listening to his music. Roogle, you said you weren't interested in his music since Aaliyah, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your thoughts on the case? No, I knew you were like, he was married to a little kid. It's over. We know. You, Nia, what's your thoughts on the R. Kelly situation? You don't have anything?
I don't know why. I guess I'm like one of those, I'm for the men. I don't know why. But if he married Aaliyah, her parents signed off on
No.
right? That's what.
They didn't know. They lied on the marriage license, and that's why it was annulled and taken back. Yeah, so they weren't for it at all, and that's what was like, boom. And I think she was really in love with the guy. But anyway, listen. On a better note, Aaliyah fans, guess what? You can now stream her music. Because for a minute you weren't allowed to stream her music. Remember her uncle actually, what was it, Blackground? He was with the Blackground Records, and that's where he signed her to. They had some issues because her mom is over the estate, and he owns all the rights to her music. But now you guys can stream her music. So, yay. Yay to that. Go ahead. Yeah, because the uncle owned the catalog. Also, he has catalog music with Toni Braxton, Timbaland, Tank, all that. That's with Blackground Records. But I'm happy about Aaliyah because I liked her stuff. Now I don't know if they'll stream, the stuff that R. Kelly did, because 1 in a Million is the one that everybody liked too. So, yay, we get to listen to the music. Hey, if you want in on this conversation, feel free to do so, my lovely people. The phone number here is 619-902-2287, 619-902-2287, and you can also text. So, look like you can text your questions live. All right, what's your thoughts on the birth certificate since we're talking about this? The birth certificates, they're speaking of omitting the part where it says sex, male or female. They're talking about omitting that. To determine the sex of the baby, they just leave that off. So they may no longer include that. What's your thoughts on that?
Are they going to take off the race on employment application?
Good question.
So no, it's going soft. I think it should stay. If you don't, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to.
Okay.
I mean,
okay. I know someone who just had a baby, and they said that they're not calling the baby a he or a she. They're going to allow their child to determine what sex they want to be. Pop's lips. Now, what do you think about that, Roogle?
I was actually wanting to look up real quick, what is the purpose of a birth certificate? Right?
What's the purpose of a marriage certificate?
Well, we know that's a way for the government to generate money. we know that, right? but okay, so I'm looking at a Wikipedia page here, so I just want to quote that real quick.
Okay.
It says a birth certificate is a vital record that documents the birth of a person. The term birth certificate can refer to either the original document certifying the circumstances of the birth to a certified copy of a representation of the ensuing registration of that birth, depending on the judiciary. A record of birth might or might not contain verification of the events by such as a midwife or doctor.
Okay,
so that's kind of like
since you went to Wikipedia, and we already know you can't. Don't go to Wikipedia if you plan on answering test questions.
So they say on here, this is continue as a target has a target to increase the timely availability of data regarding age, gender, race, ethnicity, and other relevant characteristics which documents like a birth certificate has the capacity to provide. Okay, so go ahead.
My thing is to me the relevance of a birth certificate. Well, yeah, you can statistics, population, ownership, and not really ownership, once they turn 18, to say this belongs to me, kind of like a car registration. This is mine. I didn't steal it. Living in San Diego, you had to carry that birth certificate because you had so many people that were trying to come across the border, and you had your little baby, and they could say, okay, this is my child, because like they had swap meets and all that other stuff out there, that they will steal your baby to become a U.S. citizen. Like, you know, you need that documentation. I think that documentation is important. That's just me. So you don't think that there's a need for a birth certificate? How do I mean, come on, we need a count for the people.
Yeah. So this is actually an interesting article. I wish I had just looked this up on my own and really read it. But it talks about, it says here, it says that the original purpose of a vital statistics was for tax purposes and for the determination of available military manpower.
For the military. See that one? Who get to fight for the country?
Yeah, they said this is tied to the United Kingdom. So they said the practice originated at least as far back as 1853.
1853. Okay.
So that's interesting. But I would say this is that But I think one problem. I mean, I don't know. It's up to people what they want to do, right? But let's say that you have in a hospital. You don't have a record of the sex of the child, right? And so I don't know. Like, if you don't have it on the birth certificate, is that not for this? Does that also mean that the hospital has no record of the sex?
I think it probably would. It probably would mean that the hospital wouldn't have a record of the sex.
So, I know there's other ways. Well, I shouldn't even say, because there's other ways to identify kids or whatever like that. Because I think nowadays.
So if you don't put the sex, what do you put? Like penis, vagina. Like, how does being an infant, they're sponges, so they don't know. And I just think, like, the one person who said they'll let their child decide, your child doesn't even know about decisions.
Well, I think they're talking about their gender role or what have you. You know what I mean? But I think, like, sometimes there could be the belief that kids won't get exposure because people say, well, you're a boy, I'm just giving you a football and never giving you,
the opportunity
to cook or whatever it is, or whatever they think would be a feminine role or whatever like that. That could be one perspective. I'm just looking at it from a logistical point of view. Like, if you have a room full of babies, like they have a room full of babies when they're born, and you don't identify sex, and there's a similarity in name.
How do you know?
Yeah, how do you know? Or they're, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's a problem that's solved through, like, some sort of number or whatever. However they do the bracelets and stuff. Because don't they do now a bracelet for the mom and the baby?
Yes, they do.
Okay, so that solves that problem. It's been a long time since I've been in maternity leave.
They ain't taking no babies. Ain't taking no babies.
Yeah.
Okay. We gotta we'll have to follow that. We'll follow that.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the fight. The fight on Spirit Airline. The fight happened. They were serving spirits, and that's what happened. Spirits. Yeah, that he had too many spirits, and what's your thoughts on that? Because we already know you got 3 types of drunks. You got your happy drunk. You're mad drunk, the one that will always want to fight all the time, and you have the crier.
This is the guy they taped to the seat, right?
Yeah, they taped him to the seat. And do you think that was wrong for them to tape him to the seat? He didn't know how to handle his liquor.
I mean, wow. It's one of those things where it's like, should someone be bound like that? Possibly, probably not. But should he have...
For the safety of the other people on the plane.
And that's the thing, though, because wasn't it somebody who tried, they thought he was trying to do some kind of stuff they thought was like a terrorist activity or something, and they like beat him to death on a plane or something like that? It was something like that. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But I thought it was like, this was maybe about somewhere between 5 to 10 years ago.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Well, it was something where, like, the person, maybe they didn't beat him to death, but he was acting kind of weird, and, like, everybody tackled him.
See what I'm saying? Acting kind of look and be like, and then what do you say? I apologize. I apologize for that black eye. We thought you was trying to take over the plane. So ain't nobody is taking, everybody's on edge, and nobody is taking, they're not taking any chances. No one is taking chances anymore. But my question is, should liquor, even though we know it's a moneymaker, because that's probably why they offered it, but should liquor be on the plane? Like, you can't, like a bar, somebody, a bar brawl break out, somebody at the bar, you can leave. The airplane, you just cannot leave. And some people can have one drink, because I know they do like a limit, but some people can have one drink. Some people, I think, is allergic to liquor. It don't react well with their bloodstreams.
I just thought they just kept serving until the time was up. I didn't even know.
What?
Once you had a ticket, I thought they kept serving.
Oh, and you're not driving, so just go ahead, huh?
You just roll. I mean, I don't know. I guess they would have a responsibility to make sure they didn't give you something that was bigger than what you know.
I think that I don't know for certain, so don't quote me on this, but I think that they have where the airline stewardess actually gauged to see if you had enough. Because honestly, by the time if you're not inebriated, by the time you get off the flight, you're not going to be able to find your luggage or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm lit. I'm going to sit right here. And the whole day goes by. But he was one of these, and I'm using my alleged, I got my air quotes. He seemed to be a angry drunk and wanting to just go off on everybody. So nobody's safe. And that's an altered mental status. So how does that work? Can you sue this guy? If I had gotten hit, can I sue him and be like, oh no?
Yeah, I think you probably can. That's assault. You know what I mean? So,
but he wasn't in his right mind because he was inebriated. Then do I sue Spirit?
You sue everybody.
just get a line. Just get a line. Everybody, just get a line.
The thing is do you have a viable suit? You can sue the person that was sitting next to you because they got bumped into you, or whatever, but would that be a viable lawsuit? You know what I mean?
Do you remember the one girl that she sued the airline, and I know we talked about it, and she said that he came and urinated on her?
No, I don't remember this.
Mm-hmm. It was a guy, he urinated on her, but I think he was sleepwalking or something to that effect. It was like, did he just...
And he like whipped it out?
Yes. And
I do not remember
he said that he didn't know. He said that he didn't realize it. And I want to say that they said that he was inebriated. He lost his job and everything behind it.
Well, if you go opinion on people, only a few people... R. Kelly, he peed on somebody who got him. So,
right.
That's the cold world in our society. I think that, but so don't pee on people.
All right, you said don't pee on people.
Yeah.
Just strippers can't pee on people either.
I wouldn't pee on anybody.
Let me tell you this.
I wouldn't advise pissing on people.
Listen to this. Listen, I was watching. Okay, have you ever seen a lazy stripper?
Yes.
Listen, I seen one, and I didn't think it was possible. I said, I thought strippers, like, they on the pole, they doing their thing. And I mean, some real tricks. I seen some real tricks. Like, whoa. Kudos to them. Like, boom, boom, boom. They did it. And then I seen this one girl, and she was on the pole, and she walked around the pole. And I wish y'all could see me. She, was standing, the pole, she's holding the pole, right? And she gets down, she twerking, and then she come back up. Then she kind of, lean on the pole like she waiting on the bus. I was like,
Like she waiting on the bus.
like she was waiting on the bus, like it's a stoplight. You know what I mean?
She
You know.
looked down at her wrist like, hey, it's running kind of slow today.
Listen, I don't know what it was, but I had never seen nothing like that. And then she just walked around the pole like, you know, you walk like, did I drop a dime? You know, she. This was the laziest, and I could not believe it. I was laughing. I said, is she on break? Like, I could not understand what was happening. It was two of them. And the one, I guess she figured, yeah, I'm going to take a little break. She stood up and, like, leaned on the pole a little bit. I was like, is this, I never seen nothing like it. Is this for real? Am I really watching this? A lazy stripper. I never seen it before. Tell me, you seen the lazy stripper? How lazy was she? Did she sit down on the end of the stage?
Yeah, years ago, I had a friend, and he was just like, man, I just want, he wanted to have like a bachelor party experience or whatever, cause, or was he going? Was it bachelor? No, he was about to leave off for armed forces or whatever.
Okay.
And he was like, man, let's just go hang out, man. Let's go, stuff. So we go out and stuff. And we go to this one place, and this year, I might have been in college at the time. I'm pretty sure I was. So anyway, it's like the song came on, don't remember what song it was. And like literally danced until like the what do you call that when the lyrics start on the song? It's not the bridge, it's the,
when the beat kick in? What?
Yeah,
Or
the beat kicked in, but then, sometimes if it's a jam, it take a while to get there. Like,
okay.
And then next the words kick on, like about 10 seconds, 30, 10, 20 seconds, till the song start. And then went right to the edge of the stage. It was just like, yeah.
Start dancing? She was sitting down dancing?
All it was at that point was just like shoulder and arm movement. I was like, I was cracking up, man. I was like,
We'll be like, how much did y'all pay?
Yeah. I ain't talked to that dude in a long time, man.
You need to reach out.
That's funny. Yeah.
Let me tell you about the funniest thing that happened. It's this guy. I'll give AutoZone a shout out. This dude, listen, he comes out to help, right? He put socks in his pants. I didn't. Socks. He puts a in the front of his pants, so y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, I didn't know it. I didn't know.
Who's this now?
This is AutoZone worker. So
you work with some strange coworkers. Let me tell you.
No, I don't work at AutoZone. I'm going in to get some wipers. Listen.
Okay. All right.
So can I help you? Well, I'm sitting there and I'm like, don't lose tube socks with. That's tube socks. So I'm looking at you know how you try to have eye contact? That's what I was trying to help, but you couldn't help but see this big giant. It was like I was watching some type of Adam Sandler or whatever. In that, yeah, like some type of comedy show. So he comes out, he's like, oh yeah, I'll show you where it is. There's this big bulge in the front. So I'm walking, I was like, see, I can't. He's like, oh, I'll help you go over there. So then the other coworker ended up letting me know. And I was like, what's up with him? The other coworker shakes his head and he's like, he always throws socks in there every time. And then he wants to help all the women. I was like, people, please, this is 2021. Not the, and he's an older guy. Not the 70s. Like, get out of here. Get out of here. It's different. When you said this, and I'm like, oh, he should be a stripper. What'd you think? With a big sock. With a big cotton sock.
I have no comment with the auto parts store employees should do.
Roogle, what's happening in the movie world?
Wow, there are so many great things going on right now in the movie world. As movie theaters are opening, we have some big time releases, and we also have some big time releases on streaming. Just recently, what I watched was The Suicide Squad. This Suicide Squad is sort of a sequel to the original Suicide Squad starring Will Smith and Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie did reprise her role as Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad, and she was accompanied by Idris Elba, who played the Bloodsport in the movie. And then not only that, we also got Viola Davis. She came back as Amanda Waller, who's sort of the if you will, the Nick Fury of the DC universe, but way more will kill you quickly. that's how she does it. So this was it was a good movie. It was a lot better than the original one starring Will Smith. Now again, this is a sequel. But the premise is the same. It's DC villains that are sent on a suicide mission, on behalf of the United States government to do the things that the government cannot do, or at least won't acknowledge doing. So they are sort of like, hey, if you get caught, then that's what you just get caught. But if you don't do it, we're gonna blow your head off. So, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. But in this movie, it was long. It was about 2 hours and 12 minutes, I believe the runtime was. But it was entertaining. They did have some spots where it was kind of like, okay, give me a little bit more, because the first few minutes it takes off. It takes off, and there's a lot. And the combination of what the director and writer James Gunn brings to this project. He is the writer and director of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, which were a huge hit for Marvel. So there was a situation with him when we talk about cancel culture, where something about, I think some tweets or something, I can't remember what it was, but anyway, something that he did a long time ago came back to bite him. Disney cut him loose from Marvel, and then DC picked him up. Somehow along the way, that kind of there was some level of forgiveness given, and I believe Marvel has now brought him back. But he did some good work in that short time that he was with DC. This movie has heart to it. It has some comedy to it as well, and it definitely gives you what villains. I mean, these are bad guys, so you can push the envelope. You can have them do things that you would not have a hero do.
Okay.
But what they do is they play a really good role. These shows really highlight, hey, I'm a bad guy, but this person is like an evil person. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So you can have that anti-hero approach to it. I think Idris Elba did a good job in his role in it, and it's a joyful movie. I've watched it, I think, like twice since it's been available. So I enjoyed it a lot, and I think that if DC keeps pushing out things like this, they'll really reestablish their brand. Because sometimes people they complain about the quality or whatever, but there it is. Also, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is in Disney's The Jungle Cruise, which is based off of their a theme park ride. I did not watch. I did ride the ride years and years ago, but I did not see the movie. It is on Disney Plus and in the theaters.
Is it something you're interested in? Are you interested in watching it?
Nah, not really. If I had the opportunity, I would watch it.
Okay.
But I'm not like, let me get out there. But anyway, it did bring in $35 million in this opening weekend. So it seems to be doing pretty good, and it is streaming as well. So Disney has both those things going. Now, one problem that is being caused by this issue of streaming and theater releases, a few weeks ago, about a month ago, we had the release of Black Widow starring Scarlett Johansson. Now, the reason this is important is because this may be a landmark lawsuit that she has against Disney. So basically, she sued Disney about the release of her movie because her contract said it was a theatrical release, and her money should be tied to the earnings of that theatrical release. But if you split that release by having it on a streaming network, what happens to the money that she would have made from the people who would have went to the theater instead of watching it from home?
But she didn't know, because remember, we were streaming because of the whole COVID situation. But
her contract was never renegotiated to establish that that mechanism of streaming the movie and her compensation for that streaming.
Okay.
Because she had a back end deal.
Oh.
So people have deals in the beginning, they might get lower money, and then on the back end they get money based off the gross. And her gross was going to be affected by some level because of the different ways it was available. Well, the other way. So we're underway to see what happens, and we'll be paying close attention to what happens with that.
Okay. What else? I guess I binge watched. It's an old one on Netflix. To Get Away with Murder. I thought it was.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty good.
I've never watched it. I've always tried to get around to it, but I've never watched it though. But I heard only good things about it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
it was good.
I also watched M. Night Shyamalan's movie Old. And
what is it? Old is in OLD?
OLD.
Okay.
It's a movie about a mysterious beach that people go to where they age rapidly. And, and it's...
I won't be going to that beach.
It's interesting to see how there's some interesting dynamics that happen, especially with like the aging process and how and the twist. I won't give away the twist, but the twist is something that is it's sinister and but it's an okay work by him. I don't think it's getting that much fanfare, but it's M. Night. It's M. Night. He's doing his M. Night thing, and he has his brand. So
okay.
And the thing about that though, he can make it. What he did was really an inexpensive concept. So I don't even know how much. I'm going to see if I can find how much was budgeted for. But I would imagine if he had a $10 million budget, he could have shot this movie with probably less. But the premise was interesting.
Okay. All right. Now listen. Did you know? I wanted to tell you about this. Meghan McCain's last day on The View was Friday.
Oh, okay.
Black Twitter was eating her up.
Eating her up.
Oh man, they was eating her up with all the memes. They have a picture of Kamala Harris wave. You know how she was waving by. They had that. So there's a lot of people, not even just Black Twitter. A lot of people just overall was happy to see her go. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think sometimes you need that opposing opinion that you may not really agree with, but I think did she bring value to the show? I don't watch it enough to say if she did or didn't. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But obviously they're going to find a replacement for her. I don't think the show is just going to say we're not going to fill that gap. So I'll be surprised. I'm interested to see who will
replace her.
Yes.
I will say this. She did do a lot of whining and crying and got on my nerves, and they would ask the questions. And I get that, you do your topics and you ask the questions, and then you have guests. Now they already know the questions ahead of time. And she's like, she don't want to participate in the questions. Well, that's your job. You know what I mean? Or she'll talk about something totally different and not what the actual topic is. And then she did a lot of crying. Now, however, I thought she added something better than Raven-Symoné did. Raven, it wasn't a good mesh to me when Raven-Symoné was on there.
Well, I think sometimes they pick people clearly off of demographic, representation. You know what I mean? So I think Raven-Symoné was like, oh, let's see if we can get the younger people.
The younger crowd.
She has a huge following, but like you said, it goes down to the quality of the conversation, and sometimes that can also turn off viewers as well. Because one thing that she said, talk about Raven Simone, she said somebody came, was it Watermelon Andrea or something like that, and I was like, man, that's like
what?
You remember she said I wouldn't hire somebody named Watermelon Andrea or something to that fact. Like a resume of your name. This is the thing that she caught heat over. This is Raven Simone I'm talking about.
Okay.
This was and it was like, man, that's mighty racist.
Watermelon.
It was super racist. I was like, yeah.
It was a double race.
Yeah,
It was a double racial.
Goodness. Like it was like her past guy. It didn't even get revoked. It just disintegrated. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, this is too racist. I can't exist anymore. But yeah, she did say that. But as far as Megan McCain goes, I wonder, is she going to, what's her aspirations after this? Is she, is there room? Is she, she might be leaving for something that's more aligned to her viewpoint, to where she will get no resistance on her point of view.
Oh, like replace a Rush Limbaugh or being the female Rush Limbaugh,
something like that. Yeah, who knows? She might go to Fox News, and get her own segment. Who knows?
Okay, look, I'm like, okay. I think that there is something in the works, probably for her viewpoint. I want to say that she had did another show prior to coming on The View, and there were people who actually felt that she, and this is after reading articles, felt that she pretty much just got that job because of who her dad was.
Yeah.
And, some people felt like, oh, she just got that job. I wouldn't have the same opportunity. If she wasn't John McCain's daughter, she wouldn't have gotten that job. However, they did speak on that. And I want to say, don't quote me on it, I believe it was Whoopi that actually said that her dad said pretty much that she was a card. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A card. They'd be like, she's kind of difficult. You know what I mean? But just work with her. So her dad gave that, I think it was Whoopi that he said that too. So she was different. It was said that, backstage she was having issues with the other co-hosts. Now, I will say this, she does complain, well, she did, since it's past tense and she's leaving, or she's gone now. She would have an issue with people interrupting her, but she would interrupt people and cut them off. And that's what I did not like. You can have your viewpoint all you want, but don't cut somebody else off and then get upset when they cut you off because you ran out of time or the segment is almost over. You know how I'll be like, if the segment is almost over. So I'm not going to miss her because I wasn't a fan. Honestly, I wasn't a fan. But I do believe that she probably has another opportunity. The way they ate her up on Twitter, though, I said whatever it was. And she was saying how she was, the things that people said about her when she would read the comments. You can't read all of those comments. And Megan, if you're listening to Shop Talk with Mel, which I know you are, just know you can't read all of the comments. Honestly, I have other people that read the comments unless it's my personal page or something like that. But if it's something negative, delete that stuff. Delete it. Don't take it in. And I do believe that she had issues prior to, self-esteem issues prior to, and that's why she adheres to what other people say. Everyone is not going to like you. And I just want to put that out there, or anybody, and not just Meghan McCain. Everybody is not going to like you. Don't base yourself off of if someone likes you. Otherwise, you'll end up becoming so many different people and not who you actually are. Trying to have everybody like you. They ain't like Jesus. And if they ain't like Jesus, I know I ain't got a chance. So go ahead, Roogle. What you got?
I was just looking at her filmography here. And it was talking about, you were right, she was on 2 talk shows, 2017, one called The Five, another one Outnumbered. And it looks here that she was like a producer of a show called Moms.
Okay. She just became a mom.
2020. And then, so I think she was an aspiring actor as far as I can tell here. And then her time there was a Reunited States documentary she was in, and it looks like she's working on a project that's in pre-production called "Don't Sweat the Small Stuff," the Christine Carlson story. It's a TV movie, so I don't know much about that, but yeah. So she's moving on to some other things. I'm
Do you think she just built up her, her audience on The View and then to pull over, so it did benefit her?
Well, I think everybody on there who has another gig outside of that gig, which I think Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, she does it all. Everyone on there does something else, right? I mean, they're all involved in, like, they're noted for some other thing. I don't really know all the hosts that well.
Mm-hmm.
But I would definitely think that type of exposure would build your brand.
Okay, I hope so for her sake. Look, I'm like, I truly do. What's her name? Amber Geiger. Do you remember her? The police officer. I hope I'm saying her name. The police officer that went in and killed.
In Texas.
Yes. Well, you see that she, her appeal was denied.
Oh, okay.
Now, why do you think that she would
appeal it?
Yeah. I mean, her sentence wasn't what I wanted it to be, because public opinion rules, and I had my opinion. You go into somebody's house and then you kill them in their house, so you're not even safe in your own home, and then you want to appeal that? Child, like, who told? Like, sit down.
She's appealing because she feels she's not guilty.
How, Sway?
But, the thing with that whole premise with that is just a little bit of time is too much time. And if she can get no time at all, I mean, and the way they were hugging and carrying on and everything like that.
You mean the brother? The brother?
The judge too. The judge hugged her.
Yeah, that was different. That was different to me. And remember, she got fired from other places. Yeah, and then they go to the next place and then get hired. Like, that was different. The girl went in there, and then her text messages was so incriminating, between her and her boyfriend. Like, no. She should be sitting down and just doing her time.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. And you would think that, because what did she get? She only got, she get like, 7 years maybe?
It was like, it was something real minor, and I was not okay with it.
But the thing is that to be exonerated, is bigger than serving time. You know what I mean? Any time for her, in her position, I would say. Just like I'm sure that Chauvin will probably appeal his case.
When you know that you have done wrong, I would be like, I'm happy they didn't give me more time. That would be me if I was in her shoes. Let me sit down and get my 3 hots in a cot and be quiet for the time being. I don't want no problems, because I would think that people would pretty much be, how would she be in peace when she gets out?
You're making the assumption that she feels bad about the situation.
Now, you know what? You're right. I'm placing my feelings on her as if it's her. You're right.
Yeah. I mean,
you're right.
I know she heard the people, and I don't know, I don't recall if she actually, did she apologize for it or whatever? I
don't remember that.
What happened. I don't know. I mean, obviously she didn't say, she didn't plead guilty to this. But the legal process is what it is, and she had the opportunity. It's what we've made it to be, because it is supposed to be governed by the people for the people. It was in her rights to appeal, and it was also in the judge's right parameters to say, no. Like, I'm not taking that case, and you already you murdered this guy, and this is what you got. I've seen people.
If I was the judge, I'd be like, you better be happy you got that. That's why I'm not in the place.
And that might have been the thinking of that judge. We're thinking like, your time is so minimal for this situation. And like some judges will go, hell, I would have added some more time to you. Who knows, And just, but she had the right to be able to appeal. So, I mean, that was the results of it. So, the legal system had worked, I guess, in respects to at least maintaining the first judge's ruling.
I guess. I would have denied it, though. But you're right. So a judge probably would have been like, oh, no, you didn't get enough time. Hold on. I'm glad you came before me. Boom. Can they do that?
No.
Good thing I'm not in it at all. Good.
I mean, I don't know that. Because I wonder if they said something that would further incriminate them, if it would open up a retrial. Like, what evidence would open up a retrial that would not be double jeopardy, in a sense. So I don't know that answer, but that is interesting.
Yeah, be like, when you come up for the appeal, we can bring this up. Or, well, that would be her attorney, though. It wouldn't be the prosecuting attorney.
But let's say she went up there and said, yeah, I did it, and I do it again. Let's say, it's something like that, right? Would that be considered new evidence?
That's a good question, but probably not, because remember OJ wrote the book, If I Did It.
Okay. Yeah,
and you see it didn't happen with him. I'm thinking, why are you doing that? Like, it was really different. I don't know. That's a good question. What you doing? Looking it up? You looking at Wikipedia?
No. I got a text message from somebody, and they said, I've been called many things, but never that. And I looked to see, what did I text them?
What did I say? What did I do?
There's something over here. I'm like, oh my God. I had to look back at my other message. I was like, oh no, okay, I'm cool.
We're just like, oh, this is it.
Don't cancel me.
Right.
Don't cancel me. Not yet. Don't cancel. But no, it was
all right. Today's footnote. A job is a job. It's a way to pay for a living, but that's it. Don't let it define your happiness. You work to live, not live to work. So kudos.
Somebody told me that.
So kudos to the people that are out there, and remember, employees. It is an employee's world, not the employer. So if you feel as though that you are being mistreated, do what you're doing. According to the unemployment rates, don't go. Find a job that works for you. Now, I did see Dunkin' Donuts. I wonder if that was like a hoax or not. Talk about $19 an hour.
Probably not.
Listen here, $19 an hour, and all you have to do is say good morning. Would you like whipped cream?
I mean, but I don't when I see I don't feel like there's a difference. Like, if you're working for a company that's making so much money to where every time you turn around there's a new one, and all they sell is water, they sell dirty water. Right?
You keep saying my iced coffee is like dirty dishwater.
Dirty dishwater, right? But it's so funny because I had guests over for breakfast this morning, and my coffee maker didn't work, so I had to go and get a box of Joe.
Did you have wonderful cups for them?
I did.
Good.
That's why I was sporting one of those.
I saw it.
But they were traveling through, and now they said, "Hey, stop over. We'll make breakfast and catch them for a minute. Then y'all can head on to the rest of y'all trek." So it was nice.
That is really nice. So you're inviting people back to the house. You're inviting people over now. Even I know that you were vaccinated. We're about to end the show, but I know you were vaccinated.
Yeah, I feel comfortable. It wasn't like it was just a couple.
Okay. Oh, a couple. Okay, I got you. One, two. All right.
1, 2.
All right, lovely people. That is my time. I thoroughly enjoyed you, as I do each and every single Saturday. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, all social media outlets. You hear that 12 o'clock siren, don't you? At Shop Talk with Mel. And if you would like to donate to the channel, you feel free to do so. You can do PayPal or the Cash App, and it's all at Shop Talk with Mel. Shout out to you, Bella Crafty Creations, for my lovely cup. I love you so much. Thank you. You see the lips on there?
Is that what they are? Those are lips.
Those are lips. Those
Okay.
are lips. And catch me on Be Inspired every Friday. And again, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff right here on your Shop Talk with Mel, your favorite podcast outlets under Let's Shop Talk. Find you, embrace you, most importantly, always, always love you. Until next week, people, Shop Talk right here, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. I love it.
Recording stopped.